Welcome to Founders Espresso podcast. Start your day with inspiring stories and actionable tips from founders to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. Sip up and scale up together. Okay, Sydney, thank you for being here and thank you for accepting this invitation to Founders Espresso, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Andrea.
So, Sydney, let's dive into immediately in this chat. First question: which one do you prefer, espresso or a latte?
Latte. Anything with lots and lots of sugar in it is my favorite.
Nice, nice. But you prefer cold or hot?
Hot.
Hot. Okay, because I like also latte, but for me it's always need to be cold.
Oh, okay.
Even
Very
in winter
nice.
season. And you know, in Italy, it's super hard to get it right, because usually they see just as a cappuccino, so it's very hard.
Yes. I told my mom, I was in Italy a year and a half ago, and I told my mom that if she tried to order a latte, that she's just going to get a cup of milk. And so we always ordered a cappuccino.
Right. Yes, true. So, Sydney, can you tell me a little bit of your startup and what makes unique? And also, I'm interested in your long-term future. So maybe in the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years.
Absolutely. So we are Vessel Prosthetics, and we help people with leg amputations lead healthier, more comfortable lives. So what's really unique about my startup is that we're very user-centered in our design. I think that there are lots of companies that are, but there are also lots of companies that are not focused on the user. So I think that really does set us apart. In terms of our product, we've developed an automatically adjusting prosthetic socket system. So for people that have a leg amputation, our design is able to automatically adjust as their leg changes size. And so that automatic adjustment is what sets us apart from anything else that's on the market that's all manual. In terms of our vision of the company, in 6 months, we're going to be doing a lot more patient testing, which I'm really excited for. So having people with leg amputations try our device on and give feedback. And then in a year, we'll be doing our first sales, which is also very exciting.
Nice.
That will be in the United States. Thank you.
Sure.
And in 5 years, we'll have new products on the market. So there's lots of growth in our future, and we've got a pretty exciting pipeline.
Nice. It's super interesting. I'm very curious to know, because can you tell me a bit more about this pain problem?
During the day, think about like if you eat a lot of pizza and you wake up the next morning and you're a little bit bloated, it's kind of like that. So people with leg amputations, from diet, exercise, weight fluctuations, so if you're gaining weight or losing weight, any of that leads to a change in your leg size. But the prosthetic leg does not change size. And so that misfit is like if you wore shoes that were too big and you get chafing and blisters. So it's a very painful problem.
Absolutely. I see. I totally get it. Thank you, Sydney. And how did you start? So what was your initial budget, the first days also?
Yeah, absolutely. So my co-founder and I met. I had finished my master's in biomedical engineering. He had finished his PhD in clinical anatomy. And we were doing a 1-year postgraduate degree in medical innovation fellowship. So basically entrepreneurship in medicine. And it was 10.5 months. They send you out to find a problem and start solving it, and then teach you how to start a company along the way. So we shadowed a doctor at a diabetes clinic, and we met a lot of people that had leg amputations because diabetes is the leading cause of leg amputation. And that was where this whole idea started. So through that program, we started working on the project a little bit. We had some other things we were doing, but we worked on that a little bit. And then at the end of that program, my co-founder and I, out of our group of, students, we really enjoyed working together and really believed in the vision of the company. So we started the company after that program. And you asked for the budget. Our initial budget, we won, like the week that we graduated, we also won a pit competition, and it was $25,000. So our initial budget was $25,000 until we could get more money. So it was, it was very interesting.
Nice. Also, it's super interesting, like the pace that you kept doing this acceleration. So as soon as you finish, you already have win this competition and get this one. So I think this is something that for sure will set you apart in the long term, as this kind of pace of results. It's crucial, I believe.
Thank you.
Sydney, if your startup were an animal, what would it be and why?
This was a really fun question.
Yes.
I think it would be an octopus. So we are very adaptive, a very intelligent team, and actually a fairly intelligent device because it can automatically adapt. It doesn't have any electronics in it, but it's intelligent in a passive way, if you will. And then lots of legs. And our focus is on helping people with leg amputations. So lots of legs.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Sydney, can you tell me a little bit more about your co-founder and what made you decide they were the right partner for this journey, especially after the program ended?
Yeah, what was really nice was we had that 10 months to work together and realize that we worked really well together. That was very helpful. So at the end of the program, you know, he has very different skill sets than I do. He's so creative and really good at like diving deep into the project and the device that we're creating, creatively solving problems, thinking of ways we could make it better. And even though I'm the engineer, that's really not my skill set. So I was glad that he had those skills. And then my skills are really kind of that overall vision, thinking about how the different pieces of the company can work together, different mentors and advisors we've met, and trying to really build the network both for fundraising, but also for like customer and user development.
I see. Of course, the complementarity is one cornerstone of every relation. So I see. Sydney, can you tell me a funny story in your entrepreneurial journey that you recall in your mind?
Yeah, this one's a hard question for me because there's lots of times where I laugh at work. We have a lot of great fun as a company. We eat lunch together most days, and so we're always joking and laughing. But one story that I can think of was I was working with a patient and I was scanning his leg because we were trying out a different technology we were using to actually create the sockets. And the scanner was behaving funny. And so I had to get him to stand just on his one leg and then kind of stick his residual leg out. And just the way he was standing, he was like, oh my gosh, if someone walks by the room right now, they are not going to know what's going on. And we were both just laughing so hard. So that was a fun story.
Nice, lovely. I love this kind of this core business that you are developing that is so connected to the people and helping people. It's lovely.
Thank you.
Sydney, who is your favorite entrepreneur and what makes them stand out to you?
Rachel Bartholomew is the founder of 𝐻𝐼𝐵 in Canada, and she's my favorite entrepreneur. She is so selfless. Anytime that I have a question, she's always there with an answer. She was my first role model as a female founder, which was really special to me. And really what sets her apart is her dedication to her staff and her community. The way that she talks about, you know, empowering her staff and her teammates to make sure that they are able to accomplish their best work while she takes on, you know, the kind of the burden and the responsibility of being the founder and the CEO. I think that that's very admirable. And then she does a lot to support her community as well, to try and build out new initiatives for female founders, for women's health. And I just think that's so admirable.
Nice. Good. It's a good thing that you have found a role model in your entrepreneurial journey. It's a crucial aspect.
So helpful.
Yes. So Sydney, imagine this situation. You wake up, the day start off bad and keep getting worse. One setback after another. What's the phrase that you tell yourself to keep going?
That has happened a couple of times for sure. I think every founder has experienced that.
Yes.
So it used to be one of my favorite quotes, which is everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And it just makes you feel like you can kind of keep going. But now I really want to focus on acknowledging my feelings because I was very good at kind of stuffing them away. But they'll just pop back up later. So now what I tell myself if things are going south, I say, you know, it's totally reasonable that you're feeling stressed. You should be feeling stressed. There's a lot going on right now. And we can feel the stress and we're still going to keep doing just one thing at a time. And I think acknowledging it and then tackling one thing at a time is super helpful.
I totally agree, especially because as soon as you accept your state, your physical state, your mindset, you kind of starting to solve the problem at the root of this. Just because we cannot be 100% of the time full energy, full committed. So it's totally reasonable to just accept that sometimes it's just a normal cycle of every human being. And yeah, I totally agree.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Sydney, what's your most effective strategy to gathering customer feedback? So, and especially how it has influenced and shaped your product development?
I would say the most effective strategy is customer interviews. I actually just hopped off one before getting on this call, and it was fantastic. I learned something new every time I speak with a potential customer, and it really helps us focus as you start to pull out the key elements of each conversation. It helps you focus on which design elements you want to bring into the product versus what can wait for next versions of the product after it's in market.
Absolutely. Curious to know, have you already thought about paying customers?
Yeah, so we have letters of intent from clinics that they might be interested in purchasing a device from us.
Nice.
And we have started the kind of networking process, but we haven't started the sales process. So we're, as you're saying, we're right at the beginning. We're just getting started, but no sales yet.
Absolutely. I see. Do you have any unconventional growth hack that work surprisingly well for your startup?
I would say it's not very unconventional, but a growth hack I have is just network. I think a lot of people, and I've gotten in the trap before of like, oh, is this meeting even going to be helpful? Like, I'm not going to get anything out of it, but you never know. I've had people invite me to be on panels before, and we had spoken 6 months ago at this random dinner event. So you never know how things are going to come back. So I would say as much as you can network and go to events.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Especially because we are in a so globalized world that you never know, really. You never know in a lifetime of 20 years, 10 years even. It's everything is possible. I see.
Absolutely.
Sydney, do you have any books or courses or lessons that have significantly influenced your startup journey, helping you tackle challenges in your startup?
I love this question because I'm actually reading a book. Well, I'm listening to an audiobook right now called Who, Not How. And it has been fantastic, really focusing on how just building an effective team and focusing on your team can really help move the company in ways that you just trying to like grind out every task yourself will never work. So I really like that book. And then the other one that I think everybody likes is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I see. Super interesting. Thank you, Sydney. Can you share a mistake that taught you a valuable lesson and how you managed to?
Yeah, so kind of a funny one that happened very recently was I was at a conference and one of our largest potential customers, the CEO of that company was there. And I introduced myself and said, oh, so which company are you with? What do you do? When I clearly should have known who it was. So that was embarrassing. And I managed my emotions by just kind of laughing about it, making a bit of a joke and then moving on. So that was fine. One of the true mistakes that I've made before is not knowing how to describe my product to people in the industry. I think as CEOs, you go to so many investor events and you've got that elevator pitch down pat of what you're saying to investors, especially if they don't have a prior experience in prosthetics, which is a pretty unique industry. And I was at a conference where it was a prosthetics conference. So everyone there has a background in prosthetics. And so I found that I didn't know where to start my story or what kind of elements to put in that elevator pitch. And it was very frustrating. So I had to slow down, just kind of take a breath and kind of bumble my way through it. But now I'm going to be writing down what that elevator pitch should be for the next time.
Absolutely. Of course, when you start, when you are at the beginning of your startup, you have always this kind of balance between, and also maybe athletic doubt between you are still figuring out what you're doing, but then you at the same time you need to say to the people what you're doing. So
exactly.
So it's kind of course, you always have this kind of doubt, but you need to clarify for the customer. So I see your point.
Yeah, and you can always change it, right? It's one of those things where it's like, write something down, see if it works, and then you can edit as you need to, but you do need to have a starting point.
Absolutely. Sydney, do you have any daily habit or routine that has positively impacted your productivity and motivation as a founder?
Yeah, absolutely. I get to work every morning and I make myself a tea, which I really enjoy. But I find that like daily exercise or almost daily exercise, sometimes it's just like a little bit of yoga or a couple stretches or like a plank in my bedroom. But other times I get to go to the gym, which is nice. I find
Nice.
those endorphins super helpful. And then I also like to meditate and journal before I go to sleep. And for me, I know journaling doesn't work for everyone, and I wish it didn't work for me because I don't like it. I find it such a chore. But I do find that when I journal and get all my thoughts out, it makes me sleep a lot better. I don't have thoughts waking me up in the middle of the night or keeping me awake. So I definitely meditation and journaling are really helpful too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I found very common in between founders this kind of keep thinking about your startup even after even in the middle of the night, super early in the morning. So it's super interesting and also useful for you, I guess, to just throw it away this thinking just on the paper and
Exactly.
you started the day after. See. Sydney, when you face uncertainty, how do you make crucial decisions for your startup? And if you have any specific framework or guiding principles that help you navigate these moments?
Yeah, that one's a really good one. I feel very, very lucky because I have a co-founder and he's fantastic. So we always make those kinds of really hard decisions together. And I feel for solo founders that don't have maybe that person that they can bounce ideas off of. So I love talking to my co-founder and we make those decisions together. I also talk to people who've been there, done that, like Rachel Bartholomew or some of these people who've come before me that can say, oh yeah, I saw that and this is what we did about it. And if you ask a few different people, even if it doesn't give you the answer, it gives you some pros and cons about how you could handle it. And then at the end of the day, I just make the best decision that I have with the knowledge that I have. And it might be a mistake, but it was the best I knew at the time. So
nice. Yeah, I see. Like gathering feedback and also trust your partner in crime. I would
exactly.
say. I see.
Yeah.
Sydney, what are the three most important personal qualities that have helped you as a founder? And how did you cultivate or enhance them throughout your journey?
Yeah, I think you're constantly cultivating qualities that will make you a good founder. My favorite is growth mindset. I think you have to have a growth mindset. That is something, for example, financial projections. I don't have a finance background. I don't like them. No one likes, well, maybe some people do, but I definitely don't like making financial projections. So I've certainly needed to lean into the growth mindset of, hey, it's learning something new. It's a good skill. Compassion is really important. Compassion for yourself. That's huge. You're going to make lots of mistakes and you have to just be okay with that. Compassion for your team, compassion for your network, and then of course, compassion in our case for your patients and for your clients. And then time management, of course, is there's never enough time and only more and more tasks getting added. So I would say time management is huge.
Absolutely true. Thank you, Sydney. And if you could go back to day one, what's the one piece of advice you'd give yourself that would have saved you significant time or stress?
Yeah, I would tell myself two things, not just one. I would have to say two. And the two things would be hire people and spend money earlier. I think we're like, oh, well, we'll just save money and, we can just lean. But if you have the capital, you might as well pay people to go faster. So I would say that. And I like to block my time in my calendar now. And I wish I did that at the beginning where I had these blocks of time where I could just sit down and do work. And instead of just, half hour here, 1 hour there, it's so hard.
Can you share one thing you're most proud of?
I would say it's my company culture, both inside of the company. We celebrate, we support each other. We just get together regularly so that we know each other as people and not just work all the time. So I think that makes us stronger and I'm really proud of that. And as we grow the team, I hope we can keep that going. And I know that culture within the company bleeds out into the advisors that we work with and even our customers and people who we meet at conferences and trade shows can really feel that as well.
I really believe that is one of your cornerstone in the long term as a startup. I've talked with different founders and they told me as a mistake that they didn't build the company culture in their startup. And after they grow, they started to realize how much is important to grow this kind of mindset and also being aligned with your teammate especially when you grow and you need to kind of tell to them your culture in the company. So it's super important.
I agree. It's one of those things where it's hard to want to invest in it early, but it's so worth it.
Absolutely. And Sydney, can you share your deeper why, the driving purpose behind your startup, and explain what keeps you motivated on the toughest days?
Yeah, that's a really, really hard one. And what it's always for me been about helping people. That was why I did biomedical engineering in the first place. I wanted to design devices that help people and give access to people that might not have had that level of mobility or that level of freedom on their own. I think that it was harder in the earlier days because you're just like brainstorming and developing. You've never seen anyone use it, so it's not as tangible. But we had our first patient try on the socket last year, and that was amazing because you're like, oh my God, we're doing it. Like someone's wearing it. Yeah.
Amazing. I see it.
So, yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Sydney. One question, super quick. If you could hear the story of another entrepreneur, who would it be? I reach out later on and I will tell them that you ask for them to talk on this Founders Espresso.
Yeah, that's hard. That was really hard. I was trying to think of all the different people, but I would say it would be either like the founder of one of the really big med tech companies like Medtronic or Zimmer Biomet, or like one of the really, really big ones. They've probably been around too long for the founder, but maybe the CEO. Or maybe even an entrepreneur whose company was recently acquired by one of those large companies. I think that would be really interesting.
I see. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you very much for this chat. It was lovely and super, super interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If you don't mind, I would love to have a picture together with a cup of coffee. You have it.
Nice. Us founders always have one.
Nice. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Sydney. Ciao.
Ciao.